The love that refused to graduate. The first time Daniel Brooks saw Emily Parker, she was standing in the hallway of Westfield High School arguing with a vending machine. "Give me my chocolate bar back," she demanded while shaking the machine with surprising determination. Daniel stood nearby with his best friend, Jason, watching the scene unfold. "She's either very brave," Jason whispered, "or completely insane." At that exact moment, the vending machine suddenly released not one chocolate bar, but 6. Emily stared at them in shock. Then she slowly looked up at Daniel. "You saw nothing." Daniel smiled immediately. And just like that, he was hopelessly in love. Emily was the kind of girl who made every room feel brighter. She laughed loudly, danced badly, and talked with her hands so much that teachers constantly told her to please stop conducting invisible orchestras. Daniel, on the other hand, was quieter. Funny in a calm way. The kind of boy who noticed small details about people. He remembered everyone's favorite songs, birthdays, and coffee orders. Together, they somehow fit perfectly. By junior year, they were inseparable. They studied together. Skipped boring classes together. Shared fries during lunch. And every Friday evening, Daniel drove his old blue pickup truck to the hill outside town where they watched sunsets and talked for hours about the future. "We'll leave this town someday," Emily said once. "And go where?" "Somewhere exciting. New York. Paris. Somewhere people wear scarves for no reason." Daniel laughed. "I'd wear a scarf. You'd look ridiculous. I'd look romantic." "You already look romantic." That sentence stayed in Daniel's memory for the next 20 years. Their relationship became legendary at school. Teachers adored them. Friends envied them. Even Daniel's mother once said, "If you two don't end up married, I'll personally complain to God." At 17, they believed love alone could solve everything. At 18, reality arrived. Emily received a scholarship to study journalism in Chicago. Daniel's father became sick, forcing Daniel to stay home and help run the family hardware store. At first, they promised distance would change nothing. And for a while, it didn't. Daniel drove 8 hours just to surprise her on weekends. Emily mailed him handwritten letters sprayed with perfume. They fell asleep during late-night phone calls. But slowly, life became heavier. Emily was overwhelmed with school and internships. Daniel worked 12-hour days at the store. Phone calls turned into arguments. Arguments turned into silence. One snowy December evening, after a painful conversation filled with misunderstandings and exhaustion, Emily quietly said, "Maybe love isn't always enough." Daniel didn't answer for several seconds. Then he whispered, "Maybe timing ruins everything." Neither of them cried during the call. That made it hurt even more. Years passed. Emily built a successful career as a magazine editor in Chicago. She married Richard Collins, a respected corporate lawyer who wore expensive watches and somehow made every conversation sound like a business meeting. Richard was dependable. Organized. Successful. Unfortunately, he also treated romance like an unnecessary hobby. When Emily once suggested a spontaneous weekend trip, Richard replied, "Spontaneous activities require at least 2 weeks of preparation." They had 2 children, Olivia and Mason. Emily loved her kids deeply. But somewhere between school schedules, grocery shopping, and pretending to enjoy Richard's work dinners, she slowly stopped recognizing herself. Meanwhile, Daniel married Sarah Mitchell, a cheerful fitness instructor who believed every life problem could be solved with smoothies and morning jogging. Sarah was kind and energetic. Unfortunately, she also organized Daniel's entire existence with military precision. By 40, Daniel had calendars for family dinners, exercise routines, and approved carbohydrate days. He sometimes missed being young and reckless. He especially missed Emily. Though he rarely admitted it, part of him compared every woman he met to the girl from the vending machine. And no one ever won. One rainy Thursday evening in October, fate finally became bored and decided to interfere. Emily entered a small bookstore downtown while hiding from the storm. At the same moment, Daniel walked toward the travel section looking for a guidebook for a family vacation he didn't actually want to take. They reached for the same book simultaneously. Their hands touched. Both froze. Daniel looked up first. For a moment, he thought he was imagining things. Emily stared at him with wide eyes. "Daniel?" He laughed softly in disbelief. "Wow, you still say my name exactly the same way." Emily smiled nervously. "You still smile before making awkward comments." "Well, I'm older now. My awkward comments are mature." She laughed. And suddenly they were 17 again. They sat inside the bookstore cafe talking for hours. At first, the conversation was polite. "Safe. How have you been? How's your family? Still hate chemistry?" But little by little, old comfort returned. They remembered teachers' names. Old classmates. The time Daniel accidentally ripped his pants climbing the football stadium fence. Emily laughed so hard she cried remembering it. Daniel looked at her across the table and quietly realized something terrifying. He never stopped loving her. Not really. After that evening, they exchanged numbers. Neither intended anything inappropriate. At least that's what they told themselves. Then Daniel sent her a message the next morning. "It was nice seeing you yesterday." Emily stared at the text for 10 full minutes before replying. "You still text like a nervous teenager." Daniel answered instantly. "I am a nervous teenager." From there, everything became dangerously easy. Texts turned into coffee meetings. Coffee meetings became dinners. Dinners became long evening walks through quiet streets while they talked about everything they had lost over the years. With Emily, Daniel felt alive again. With Daniel, Emily felt understood again. One evening they sat together near the lake eating terrible hot dogs from a food truck. Daniel looked at her carefully. "You know what's strange?" "What?" "You're exactly how I remembered." Emily smiled sadly. "No. I'm more tired now." "You're still beautiful." She looked away quickly. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Say things I still want to hear." For several seconds, neither moved. Then Daniel quietly reached for her hand. And Emily let him. Their secret romance officially began 2 weeks later after too much wine and a disastrous karaoke night. Daniel attempted to sing an old love song. Halfway through, Emily laughed so hard she nearly fell off her chair. "You sound terrible." "I sound emotional." "You sound injured." He grinned. "Still came with me though." Then she kissed him. Right there in the parking lot beneath flickering neon lights and cold autumn rain. It was messy. Unexpected. Perfect. And absolutely catastrophic. Soon they became experts at terrible lying. Emily saved Daniel's number as Linda from yoga. Unfortunately, Richard eventually asked, "Since when does your yoga instructor send messages saying, 'I miss your face'?" Emily nearly dropped her phone into soup. Meanwhile Daniel saved Emily as Electric Company. Sarah became suspicious after hearing him whisper, "I can't wait to see you tonight." Then immediately adding, "About the electricity bill." The lies became increasingly ridiculous. Daniel once claimed he was taking pottery classes. "Pottery?" Sarah repeated. "Yes. You glued your fingers together trying to open pancake mix." Emily told Richard she joined a book club. "What book are you reading?" She panicked. Books. Despite the chaos, the affair made them feel young again. They danced in empty parking lots. Snuck into late-night movie theaters. Ate pancakes at midnight diners. And laughed constantly. One snowy evening, while hiding inside Daniel's truck during a winter storm, Emily suddenly became quiet. "What's wrong?" Daniel asked. She looked at him carefully. "Do you ever feel guilty?" Daniel hesitated. "Yes." "Then why are we doing this?" He stared at the snow falling outside the windshield. "Because when I'm with you, life feels real again." Emily felt tears fill her eyes. Because she understood exactly what he meant. But secret romances never remain secret forever. And eventually, reality began knocking louder. Their children noticed distractions. Their spouses noticed distance. Friends began asking questions. One evening, Emily's daughter Olivia quietly asked, "Mom, are you happy?" The question hit harder than Emily expected. Because she genuinely didn't know the answer anymore. And somewhere deep inside, both Emily and Daniel realized their story was no longer just romantic or exciting. It was becoming dangerous. Complicated. Painful. But still. Neither of them could let go. Because sometimes first love does not disappear with time. Sometimes it waits patiently beneath years of marriage, responsibility, and routine. Waiting for one accidental meeting. One familiar smile. One touch of the hand in a bookstore. And when it finally returns, it can change everything.